Brooks Running has a new shoe for you runners out there. Did you hear that? Better turn up your volume. In fact, turn it up to the max. Introducing the all-new Ghost Max. It's got all kinds of things to make your knees and ankles feel protected, like Max Cushion, Max Soft Landings with DNA Loft V2 foam, and Max Smooth Rides with their Glide Roll Rocker. Feel better on your run with Ghost Max. Learn more at brooksrunning.com.
This is Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. There is a more than 20-year-old organization that believes life is precious. And as a result, they've raised more than $10 million to help agencies and groups that are affirming life. Now, Waco, Central Texas, has an affiliate of Council for Life. And joining me is Lisa Chenot, who is the president of the Central Texas affiliate of Council for Life. And so you're also on the big board that started in Dallas, the big board. Yes. The ladies in Dallas, and it's just a remarkable group.
Indeed.
And what they've done is remarkable to raise that kind of money in 20 years.
20 years, yes.
So give me a little backstory about the organization.
Well, they started 20 years ago. They were just starting their 21st year, and they decided that they wanted to have an organization that could speak in love and compassion to the life issue without people feeling judged, because, so many people have experienced issues of unplanned pregnancies, and they wanted to do something to help those women or men realize that, that there were things they could do through education and fundraising to make that a topic where they could go to a party and they could feel comfortable talking about it. And so they started raising money for one pregnancy center in Dallas, Thrive Pregnancy Center, who is still, I believe, one of their beneficiaries. And they have it's just blossomed and grown, and just it's really set up to help women and men make life-affirming decisions through education and then through us fundraising for these organizations that are like-minded and doing, as I say, the in-the-ditch work, like pregnancy centers, adoption agencies, foster care, all the elements that go along in this, pro-life world. Because as I was telling you, we're not just pro-birth, but we're also pro-life. And so we believe that means being pro-love and taking care of those families and those children that are here.
Right. So it's more than trying to prevent an abortion, although that is kind of the key.
Exactly. Well, and it
mission.
is more than that. We do, believe that life is God's creation, and we feel honored to protect that. And, we're just trying to support those agencies that do that. But we do believe that they need our support. They can't do this work alone. And we are, life affirming, and we believe life begins at conception.
Well, and I think what a lot of people may not know, that there are a lot of organizations that do this kind of work, that are constantly fundraising. And so what Council for Life does, really, you're not on the phone counseling with a girl that found out she's pregnant. That's not what Council for Life does. It is really providing that funding for the people that are doing that work.
For those people that are trained doing those. And those are what we call our beneficiaries. And our beneficiaries are vetted through our board. And, we do financial reviews. We have researchers that go out on site and talk to these agencies about this project that they are presenting us. And it's usually something outside of the agency's budget, something extra they really need. And so we we have about $90,000 in Central Texas worth of grant requests in right now. We've already, over the past 2 years, funded several grants. We funded, we have beneficiaries currently, Chenot Pregnancy Center.
Yeah, Deborah McGregor has been on this podcast.
Yes.
And on Central Texas Living, the TV show. And I've been a longtime friend of Deborah's. And I understand she was kind of instrumental in this local affiliate even getting set up.
Bringing it to Waco, yes. And I think that's so important, and I'm glad you asked that, because people go, "Oh, are you competing with
Right.
them for fundraising dollars?" And
Yeah.
we're not, because Deborah really saw the work that they were doing in Dallas and knew that Central Texas really would benefit from that. So she reached out to the ladies in Dallas and said, "Would you consider, coming to Waco?" And they'd never done an affiliate program before.
Right, probably hadn't a clue how to.
So, but now,
do that.
they have been, it's just been great, because
Yeah.
they have just been such teachers and, encouragers,
Well, they've been doing it a long
mentors for
time.
us. And so we kind of fall under their policies and procedures. But Deborah has been a big part of why we're here. So I always, people go, "Is this a competition?" Or, I said,
Well,
no, it's not.
And I
So-
wondered that too, because I thought, well, does Central Texas need yet another pro-life organization? But your mission is so laser focused on, as you say, education and fundraising.
And helping these agencies. In addition to CareNet, beneficiaries also Nightlight Christian Adoption,
Right.
which is a wonderful organization here. And this past year, we also 40 Days for Life was one of our beneficiaries. And so we have about 7 or 8 new beneficiaries that have applied this year, and that we're in the process of reviewing their requests and grants. And we'll be announcing that soon.
Well, this local affiliate, the Central Texas affiliate of Council for Life, has had 3 major events, correct?
We started in November of 2019.
Yeah,
just,
and then
just in time
for the world to shut down.
get everything going. But we did a kickoff at Betsy and Clifton Robinson's, and had a speaker. And that's, our education events are really truthful stories of people who have been impacted by an unplanned pregnancy, and all the things that go along with that. So we feel like people's stories are really important to hear, and how they have gone through. Actually, one of the people that spoke at that was Claudia and Philip Jones, who used to be from, where were they
Exactly.
from? Waco.
He was an attorney at Naaman Hale
Yes,
Smith
and
and
before
Lee.
that,
Yeah.
he was at St. Paul's as a rector.
And then he became an Episcopal priest. Yes,
Yes.
well, I've known Dog as he's
Yes,
known
that's
Dog
what
and
I was
Claudia.
trying. I was going to
Yeah.
call him. And Claudia's
But,
on their board in Dallas.
Yes, right. And she was at the Waco event that was held at Ridgewood. It's the kind of thing, though, that you're able to get people together that are like-minded. And when you had the major luncheon, it was sort of the kickoff luncheon, wasn't it, at Ridgewood, the one I'm thinking of?
It's our first fundraiser.
It was sold out before you even really kind of announced
know.
it. So that tells you there is really, locally, there is a lot of support for what you're doing.
Absolutely. And again, the other thing, we want people that maybe don't know how they feel on the life issue to come and just hear, because we're not judgmental. We try not to be. We're not political. We want just people to hear other people's stories and just kind of what their experience has been.
Right.
And our luncheon coming up in May 17th. We've moved it to another location because we did sell out Ridgewood, and we've moved to the Baylor Club.
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger venue.
Yes. So, and so we have a doctor, an OB-GYN, Dr. Tony Levantino, and his wife, Seal.
Where is he from?
He's originally from New York State, but he's now he lives in Arizona, teaches part-time at a medical school in New Mexico. But he was for many years an abortion doctor. So he's a former abortionist, so his story is very unique and very touching, and so I'm excited for people to hear him.
Yeah, well, Abby Johnson comes to my mind as
Yes.
people who actually worked in the abortion area and then had this total epiphany about it.
Yes.
And their stories really are compelling.
They are, and they give us an insight that, a lot of people will never have unless, we have speakers like that.
Right.
As a matter of fact, Abby Johnson, one of the things that we did was fun, as I said, 40 Days for Life, and she spoke at an event for them, and Council for Life Central Texas was, did the support for that. So that was their beneficiary request for last year, and she's got an amazing story, as you know.
Oh yes, I mean it really is. She was in the hierarchy, for sure. Well, so what will people expect if they come to the luncheon on May 17th? What will happen there?
Well, first of all, it will be beautiful because everything that Counsel for Life does is just, we believe that beauty and dignity in the pro-life world is so important because, God is our creator, the creator of beauty, the creator of everything. So it'll be beautiful. The food will be wonderful. And we're going to have a raffle. We'll have Dr. Levantino and his wife will speak. We'll have a beautiful luncheon and get to see lots of friends and get to stand and celebrate life together.
And it's not a particularly hard sell. I'll stand here and wait until you get out your checkbook. One of those kind of things.
No, it's really not, because we really do believe that God knows who is going to be there, who needs to be there, and that's been our prayer. That's the other thing about Counsel for Life. We are so based in prayer. Everything we do is, just totally on our knees, asking God who's going to be there, prepare their hearts, prepare a speaker, and those people that are going to give money are going to give money. And Central Texas has been so generous. I mean, events that we had that were not even fundraisers. I mean, people are just, so, I think they love life. They want to support life. And it's been a huge blessing.
Yeah, you have, in fact, corporate sponsors.
We do. This is our first time. Well, TFNB, Your Bank for Life, has supported every event we've done so far.
Yeah, I've seen
and
David Littlewood.
For our luncheon, they're our title sponsor, which we are just so grateful for their support. We couldn't do it without them. We also have Margaret Brown is our honorary chairman, which we're just so excited.
She is delightful. Yeah.
Yes, and her daughter and granddaughter have been on the board in Dallas. Mm-hmm. Actually, Caroline, our granddaughter, is still on their board. And then we have the other corporate sponsors. We have our Extraco Bank as a underwriter, Gross Yao, and Sturdy Still.
Oh, very good.
So, and then we have a whole list of patron-level sponsors and table host.
Mm-hmm. So how can people find out, what those levels to
They can go to counselforlife.org. And that takes you to Counsel for Life's main website, and there is events page on there, and it'll say May 17th, Central Texas Luncheon. So that all the information is there on the website.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about you, and how did you kind of come to the realization? I know you've been an outstanding volunteer in a lot of different realms. What kind of led you to this particular work?
Well, that's a great question. People ask me that all the time. I sometimes ask myself. But, for many years, I was invited to a Dallas luncheon as Rebecca Lutz, who is from Waco originally, guest. And I was so impressed. I mean, they had amazing speakers. They had Stephen Curtis Chapman was one of the first speakers I heard, and Ben Carson just, was the speaker. So I was just so impressed with just the graciousness and the lovely way they presented this subject, because I think sometimes pro-life can seem really harsh to people. And I was just so drawn to the kindness in this organization. And so I was going to their luncheons, and that was, several years later. I think Deborah McGregor started putting the bug in the ear. We should kind of maybe move to Waco, and David Littlewood had a lot to do with that. So we just started they just would come down and have lunch with us and want to know more about our community, and said, just really gave us some baby steps to take. Margaret Brown had a tea at her home, just for people that were interested to kind of hear what Counsel for Life was about. And I don't know if she was expecting a house full. Her house was full of women and men. I mean, this is not just a women's organization, but for men too, to be involved. And so we just kind of started taking baby steps. Then we did the event at Betsy and Clifton Robinson's. And then just this year did we become an official affiliate in September under them. We formed our board. We have 14 wonderful board members. So I really feel like it was the hand of God. And I just, I kept thinking, I don't really have time to take this on. But I just kept having such a passion for it. And I know that it was just the Holy Spirit drawing me to, what he was calling me to do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I see, and that's what I love about this podcast, and that's the opportunity to talk to people who see a need for something, whatever it is, and say, yes, to that, little drawing, to get involved. And then it becomes something so much bigger and greater than they ever dreamed it would be.
Well, it is. And that's when you know that God is just, leading us and blessing us. And the way we have done so many events that seems like have been really short notice, and things just really seem to fall into place.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the board. We just have an amazing board, and just everybody has such a gift. I mean, we have a prayer chairman, we have beneficiary chairman. I mean, everybody. We have education, because we really want our board to understand all the issues, because as we said, they're so complex.
It's a very complex thing.
It is, and really where we are right now with the heartbeat bill. We have so many more needs, and hopefully we'll continue to have more needs, particularly in Texas, of babies that are born that we are so grateful are born. But they need parenting skills,
and they need support. Yeah,
they need support.
And that's where people who believe as passionately as you do about the sanctity of life and the preciousness of life to step in and help.
Absolutely.
As we can, and a big part of that is raising funds. Well, we've got a few more questions and things I want to talk to you about. We're going to take a quick break, and when we do, we'll be right back to hear more about Counsel for Life Central Texas.
Brooks Running has a new shoe for you runners out there. Did you hear that? Better turn up your volume. In fact, turn it up to the max. Introducing the all-new Ghost Max. It's got all kinds of things to make your knees and ankles feel protected, like Max Cushion, Max Soft Landings with DNA Loft V2 foam, and Max Smooth Rides with their Glide Roll Rocker. Feel better on your run with Ghost Max. Learn more at brooksrunning.com.
And we're back with Lisa Chenot, who is president of the Central Texas affiliate of Counsel for Life. And you've got a big luncheon coming up on May 17th. Let's go over that just again, because it's a new venue. It's going to be at the Baylor Club. And that will be a lunch. It starts at 11:30?
It starts at 12.
Oh, 12. It's
12 to
right
1,
at noon.
12 to 1:30. So
okay,
people are going to take off work. We promise we'll have you out by 1:30.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go to the website, counselforlife.org, to make sure you can register there, or you can request an invitation. But it will be, that's a Tuesday. And so we have a wonderful speaker, as I said, Dr. Tony Laventino, and his wife, Sil, will be there.
Well, and you will leave uplifted, because I think I've been to almost all your events myself, and I remember in particular at a couple's homes, at Townsend's home,
Kurt and Carol Townsend.
And that was kind of a little evening. It was not a great big thing. There were maybe 50 people there. I don't know, but the young lady that came to talk, I was so moved by what she had to say. Amy Ford, I think was her name. And she was a girl who grew up in church, was a believer, and found herself in an unplanned pregnancy, but did not feel, you keep talking about the love we need to show. She was not feeling that love in her church, which was just really, I think it was a surprise to her too.
Oh, I think it was. And the beautiful thing about Amy is that she has, turned that around. And that was, she has, that baby is now, I think he's 25 or 26.
Oh, yeah, he was at the event, wasn't
he?
I think he was a handsome young man.
So she formed a ministry called Embrace Grace to help girls to, hopefully help the church draw these girls back, and their, husbands, or as she says, the baby dads, because we want the church to be the first place they run.
Instead of feel rejected.
Which
is what happened to her.
And that's sometimes, I think, maybe why people run to get an abortion, because they want to hide that. They feel shame, and they, feel embarrassed. And we really, as a church, need to help people realize we're all sinners, and we want to show the love of Christ and the grace to everyone. And so Amy's Embrace Grace is, she walks with these little groups and, helps them. They do like a baby shower for each one of the girls. They,
at the church.
She gets churches to come alongside. As a matter of fact, Embrace Grace is a applied beneficiary for Central Texas, because they would love to have a part-time staff person here in Central Texas to help churches know how to reach members or non-members, and and grandparents, but also the dads, the fathers, to help support them in these situations where they don't maybe have all the answers.
No, well, that's right, and it's maybe not the timing that would be perfect, whatever that is, but I kind of sense the feeling with Counsel for Life is that God's timing's always right,
Absolutely.
And,
Yes, I don't believe that, there is, maybe in our eyes it's unplanned, but, God is sovereign, and He really is in control.
Well, I've always believed, and another thing I would like to make clear is that you are not involved in legislation or lobbying lawmakers or in any of that kind of realm at all.
We are not political. We are not. We try not to be. Mm-hmm. And we don't do any lobbying. We really just try to raise awareness of the issues. Like, for instance, someone may be feeling embarrassed and feeling like they couldn't go to their church. And I don't think that that's the case. I think that, that we've come a long way as in the church, but we still have a lot of work to do. And I don't mean that one church. I mean, all churches, but also to help raise money for these agencies that are doing the work. That's where our money goes. And the other thing, Ann, that's really important that we want people to know that all the money that we raise through our Central Texas affiliate stays in Central Texas. Dallas raises a huge amount of money.
They do.
Stays
$10 million.
in Dallas, but our money all stays in Central Texas. And we're always looking for, nonprofits that, are like-minded with us that would love to, pitch a project to us. We do that once a year, and not just in McLennan County, but the, surrounding counties as well.
In fact, you mentioned to me earlier before we started taping about that Baylor had an idea.
Yeah, there's an organization. It's a national organization, Students for Life. Baylor's organization is Bears for Life, but it is under the same umbrella, Student for Life. And they've applied for a scholarship to give a pregnant or parenting student to help support, women, because that's sometimes why women might feel like they don't have the funds to raise a child or to have a baby, or they'll have to drop out of school. So this would be a scholarship given to parenting or pregnant students.
Back to what we were talking about earlier, there was a time if a student got pregnant, that they were kicked out of Baylor.
Yeah.
There was no grace.
So there we again, you can see why that we may be part of the problem on why girls are going to get an abortion.
Right.
If we have, things like that, and that stigmatism as well, is just, really so happy that we, I think, are coming around and realizing we've got a role to play, and it's got to be love and grace.
Oh, well said. Well, I do have something a little fun that I like to do with my guests. Your first time on a podcast,
Yes.
First interview you've ever.
First interview, maybe my last.
You're doing great. You're doing great. But I like to end these visits with a little questionnaire similar to the one the late, great James Lipton would use inside the Actors Studio. I don't know if you remember that show. I think it was on the Bravo network. But anyway, this is my little take on it. What is your favorite word?
Gosh, that's a hard one. I find myself saying fabulous, like when I text a lot. Like, it just comes right up, fabulous.
Fab.
So I'm going to say that's my favorite word. Okay. Sometimes I say fab, but it's all fabulous.
All right. Well, what's your least favorite word?
No.
Okay. I have heard that before. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
I think nature. I mean, I think you just look at the sun rising or the sun setting. That is a shot in the arm for me for, spiritual growth for sure.
Well, what turns you off then, spiritually or emotionally, creatively?
I think conflict.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of that in our world. And it just, I know you're in the news media. Sometimes the news is just the conflict.
Yeah, it's not, for a lot of things, it's not a story unless there's conflict.
Yeah,
so.
it just, that really just turns me off. It just,
Yeah. Want everybody to get along. Can't we just get along?
Yeah.
What sound do you love the most?
What sound?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd have to say the ocean.
Okay. Yeah.
When I close my eyes and want to be somewhere, I hear those waves. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
kind of relaxing to me.
What is your least favorite sound?
I think it's a I-35, a big 18-wheeler honking at me.
I was
Because,
now what do I do?
Something in traffic.
Okay, what profession would you like to have tried that you didn't? Now I know what you do is you market and sell a beautiful line of clothing. In fact, this is one that I got from your Pearl. Yes. So what else? What would you have liked to have done that maybe you didn't do?
I've always thought I would have loved to have gone to law school.
Mm-hmm.
But
you're certainly smart enough.
well, I don't know about that. I have a sister that is an attorney.
Yeah.
And I think that I sometimes think, I should have done that. Maybe I would have loved to help people, work out their differences in the legal, maybe be a mediator or something like that.
I can see that. What do you know you would not want to do?
I would not want to be a teacher. I am so grateful that there are people, but I could, I can't imagine what these parents that had to homeschool during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So I just knew that I don't have the patience for that.
And I've heard that before too. And finally, what do you want to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, Anne, I want him to say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant."
Yeah. Well, you are doing a great work, Lisa Chenot.
Thank you,
And
Anne.
I appreciate so much your time and what you're doing to help with Counsel for Life, and I'm looking forward to great things. And again, the lunch is going to be
May 17th at the Baylor Club.
all right. And how can they get tickets?
counselforlife.org.
Very good. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. Thank you, Anne.
Central Texas Life with Ann Harder is part of the Rogue Media family. Be sure to check out our other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate this show 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.